Well, the Boston Celtics have done it, outlasting the injury-depleted sixth best team in their conference to make one of the luckiest NBA Finals appearances ever. And after choking all over themselves for what seems like years now, the Boston Celtics seem to have finally found an equation for playoff success. Amass a league-best, historically great roster, verging on damn near a modern-day super team, play in a pathetic garbage can of a conference, sit back and watch every other single good team in that conference lose all of its best players, then all of the scrub teams they actually did get to play lost all of their players too. Okay, perhaps this isn't necessarily duplicatable year in and year out, but damn it, it's all Boston has, okay?
So back off!
First, to their roster construction, which they were the only team in the NBA last season to have two All-NBA selections on either the first or second team, as Jason Tatum was first-team distinction while Jaylen Brown made second-team honors. Boston then decided to part ways with Marcus Smart in the offseason, but replaced him with Jrue Holiday, who was All-NBA defensive first team a year ago, while also adding Kristaps Porzingis, who is hurt currently but does figure to be back for the NBA Finals, and while on the court this season was averaging 20 points and 7 rebounds per game on 52% shooting, which was not bad for a third option. And all of that resulted in the Celtics producing a historic net margin of differential during the regular season. And differential is typically the single best indicator of postseason success. And the Celtics this year had one of the best ever. Their plus 11.34 point net differential per game was the fifth best of all time, behind only the 1971-72 Lakers, the 1970-71 Bucks, the 95-96 Bulls, and the 2016-17 Warriors, which of course are four of the greatest teams in NBA history, who didn't merely win the NBA titles in their seasons, but destroyed the field. The 71 Bucks team co-led by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Oscar Robertson. The famed Lakers team led by Wilt and Jerry West, a pairing that still holds the all-time NBA record for longest win streak of 33 games, the 72-win Chicago Bulls in 95-96, and the Kevin Durant-Steph Curry Warriors in their first year together. And add to this list this season's Boston Celtics team. And that is while they were playing in a trash conference, as they won the East's 1 seed by 14 games, with the 50-win Milwaukee Bucks the only team in the East that won more than 40-something games outside of Boston themselves.
It's a complete crap.
But despite their regular season struggles behind bum playoff choke artist Doc Rivers, the Bucks still promise to be a tough out for Boston, since after all, Giannis Antetokounmpo is the best player in the conference, and he finally had a competent second option for the first time ever in Dame Lillard. But Giannis, of course, suffered a calf strain near the end of the regular season, which ended up keeping him sidelined for the Bucks' entire first-round series loss to the Pacers.
That is ridiculously bad. It really is.
Oh yeah, and Dame missed a couple of games as well in that series for good measure. Then there was last season's league MVP Joel Embiid, who was a shell of himself during Philadelphia's series with the Knicks. Oh, we then had Boston's playoff kryptonite, the Miami Heat, who the Celtics matched up with in the first round of these playoffs, but did so without playoff Jimmy Butler, who is of course Boston's daddy, but he sprained his MCL in the Heat's play-in game against the 76ers. Are you noticing a theme starting here? We then, of course, had the 2-seeded New York Knicks, who were already playing in their Eastern Conference semifinal series against the Pacers, without all-star forward Julius Randle for the entire postseason. They then lost OG Anunoby for half of that series, and that was all before Jalen Brunson broke his hand in Game 7. So somehow, someway, the 5th or 6th best team in the conference scraped their way to Boston for the Eastern Conference Finals series. The East was already trash, but the Celtics didn't even get a single top 4 team in any round on their way to the finals. And none of that is even factoring in that all of the scrub JV teams Boston did get also got hurt, as the Celtics just became the only team in NBA history to win every closeout game of their first 3 series by beating teams without their best players on the floor.
It's a complete crap.
Jimmy Butler missed their entire first-round series. Donovan Mitchell missed the final 2 losses of a 5-game Eastern Conference semifinal round, and Tyrese Halliburton missed the last 2 games of these Eastern Conference finals. Oh, and Boston was either tied or trailed in the final minute of 3 of their 4 wins against Indiana. So while this year's Celtics team does join a select few teams that reached an NBA Finals without having to beat a single 50-win team on their way, statistically speaking, no, this was not one of the easiest runs to the finals, as their opponents, the Heat, Cavaliers, and Pacers, all won an average of 47 games, making this only the 19th easiest run based on that average throughout the first 3 rounds of a postseason run. But when you wrap in the context of all of the injuries, this is undoubtedly the luckiest path to a finals in recent memory, joining the Warriors team in 2022 that beat this Boston team. Golden State that season, remember, beat the Nuggets in the first round, facing Nikola Jokic, who was without both Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. for that entire series. The Warriors then beat the Grizzlies, who were without Ja Morant, for 3 of the 6 games of that series before taking on the Dallas Mavericks with a hobbled Luka Doncic. But let this serve as a lesson. No one remembers how championships are won, just that they are won. I bet many of you didn't even realize just how easy that Golden State run actually was, and it just happened 2 years ago. In fact, some of the aforementioned 18 teams with easier runs than this season's Celtics include the 85 Lakers, the 86 Celtics, and the 2013 Heat. So while a title this year won't erase all of the gagging Boston has done in the Tatum and Brown era, it will be a step in the right direction. But if any of the past 5 years or so can serve as any kind of a precedent for us going into this final series, I certainly wouldn't bet on them if I were you.